when I was a kid, I didn't have this because the community was non-existent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back in, when was that? 2010, I think. I started stop motion and I felt so alone. Like, it's like you make stop motions and then you upload them. Of course, when you start, you've got like maybe like 50 views, 100 if you're lucky, when you start.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, maybe one guy comments and then one guy is like, he comments in like Russian or, and, it's been like this for a long time. And like, even with my friends at school, they wouldn't really get it. Right. And they'd be like, okay, man, that's cute. You do you, bro. But I'm like, brother, you don't understand. Look, this is made with pictures, okay? Listen. And then, fast forward to, I think I've discovered this community in 2016, I think. That was pretty much the start for me. And then, this whole game changed for me. And it got a lot better. And of course, there are petty squabbles that they can be, that they can pop up in the community. But I don't really pay attention to that. It's like, most of us are like young people, and
right.
You guys, there's a ton of good people like you guys who do these things, and I'm super grateful.
Well, we're grateful we're able to provide that for people like you and everyone else, because we need the good vibes and only good vibes.
Absolutely, good vibes only.
Good vibes only.
It's like good vibes only. Cue the Thanos voice, like good vibes only. Like just like a really like almost a threat.
I mean, as far as introductions go, I don't think it can get any better than that.
Yeah. Welcome to the Animators Assembled Podcast once again to anyone who is listening, regardless of where you're listening from. Hope you're having a good day or night, depending on whatever time it is you're tuning into this.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm Stealthabotte? Question mark?
Stealthabotte?
Yeah, bottle.
Maybe?
Bottle?
Bottle?
I'm P22.
Mm-hmm. And I'm Leo Boy Cool 10.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Real quick before we get started, kind of just going through the topic at hand for today. For people who are returning, reoccurring listeners, you probably know the drill. But for anyone who's new here, you could see, if you're watching on YouTube, our social media handles are on screen. Feel free to check those out.
Mm-hmm.
As for anyone else, you could just look us up on our social media platforms. There will be links that you can go to.
Mm-hmm.
So you could check out Stealthabotte, Project422 Films, TheLeoLegendary through all of our social media. Project Stealthabotte is also a channel, which is kind of cool. The Animators Assembled Instagram, and the Animators Assembled Discord server, which is the reason why this podcast even exists in the first place. If you want to hang out with us, chit-chat, movie nights, TV show nights, game nights, or actual collaboration in creating content, feel free to join us. You're more than welcome. All right, did I cover everything?
I believe so.
Methinks I has.
I mean, if y'all need to figure out where to find that stuff, all of it's you'll find a link to it somewhere, I'm sure.
Oh, and if I did miss something, feel free to harass me in the comments. Just please don't.
I will.
Don't. No, my fragile ego. Okay. So let's just jump.
Let's just jump.
Let's just jump. Yes, let's just jump.
But yeah, would you like to talk a little bit about yourself, Leo?
Okay, so I make stop motions, yeah, and people like them, so I make more of them.
I love it.
Love it.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Well, all right. I'm a Canadian, Asian Canadian. I'm from Montreal, and English is my second language, actually. I mainly speak French. I grew up with French and Vietnamese and a little bit of Chinese. And I started stop motions in 2010, I believe. No, 2009. It's been a while. I started with Clone Wars, and then I just gradually went on to Transformers and Marvel. And, next thing you know, you follow the hype of the movies, and now the channel is like pretty big. And I find this community that's great. And, Stealthabotte here is my Hawkeye.
Hell yeah.
And Project422, aka Daniel, is my Batman, apparently.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And it's not a good weather today. And I've, just before jumping on this podcast, I was practicing my karaoke skills. And
love it.
We love it.
It was
Gotta
really
warm up the good old vocals.
Yeah. I'm terrible, but I really want to get good at it, especially singing Chinese songs. It's like, when you can feel it, but the language barrier is like there. It's kind of there, and you're like, oh, and so I'm practicing it, and yeah. So that's been interesting. I've been customizing an Alex Ross Spider-Man action figure, and because I'm bored, and yeah, that's it.
Amazing. I love that. And I gotta say that Alex Ross Spidey looks great so far.
Oh yeah.
Your customizing is just straight up wizardry at this point.
Yeah, it's magic.
It baffles me how you're able to cut entire inches off of McFarlane figures.
Oh yeah, you got to heat them up.
You do the good old slicey dicey. So we're very grateful to have you on with us. And yeah, without further ado, we will dive into the topic at hand. So today we're going to be basically talking about marketing and advertising in the production process for particularly animation, but also filmmaking at large in this content creating community. Kind of how the starving artist feeds a hungry audience, or feeding the mouth that bites. Is that what our title is, or feeding the hand that bites?
Feeding the mouth that bites. So here's the thing. Before this podcast, I sent Michael a text asking about the title for this episode, and me being tired because I stayed up all night animating for a little project we're working on. I sent feeding the hand that bites, and I didn't realize it until it was too late, and he'd already seen it, and he was like, that title's a little too long at first, and now obviously we're here. Point is, the hand that bites.
I didn't want to immediately call it out because I kind of hoped you would notice it yourself.
Feeding the hand that bites.
I try to give people the chance to recover because I know I goof that stuff up too, so it's all good.
But yeah,
feeding the hand that bites. Apparently the hands are hand puppets.
Yeah, they have teeth now.
Oh, they got teeth. Love it. So here's a little bit of an opening thought to kind of get our minds in the game. After going through the trials and tribulations of the production process in order to make a film project in animation, the last step is oftentimes sharing your work. With the World Wide Web we have today, in an age where digital content creation is all the rage, and a time where access to an audience is in its prime, I sound like Dr. Seuss, it's important to pave a path through the noise and make sure your voice is heard. Marketing and advertising are essential in order to build up a fan base for what only you can uniquely offer as a content creator. Using these to gauge interest may directly correlate with the success that you can expect, as well as provide your viewers with what they should expect from your entertainment, even if both exceed or fall short of expectations. So today we're going to discuss different types of marketing and advertising that could be used to propel your productions into the attention of others online, as well as the pros and cons that could come with doing so. The risks and rewards that could come with being a starving artist feeding a hungry audience, aka feeding the mouth that bites.
I'll show you biting.
That was totally on purpose.
That was good.
Good intro. Right. Good intro.
Good intro. All right. So there are many different ways that someone can advertise or market themselves and the content they create, as well as there are a variety of outlets to do that through. Some promote their stuff in a more private, personal manner. They send links of their works through texts and chats. Some create bonus content behind the scenes in the form of set photos, posters, trailers, or commentaries to share on additional social media handles. And some just spread the word by word of mouth for more eyes to see across the same or several platforms, such as having your friends share the link to your work on their stories or something like that. In your experience, do you have a favorite form of marketing or advertising your stuff and a favorite place to share it through?
I mean, obviously, I think Instagram has been my main vehicle for, any kind of marketing tactics for my videos. And I'm pretty basic. Like, you show, it's basically like a real movie, right? It's like you show behind the scenes, just a little bit, see what post a few pictures of what's up, and of course you do the announcement first, and let people be excited or something, and then leading up to the video's release, you do trailers, maybe at least one. That's what I like to do. One trailer, and more importantly, you've noticed, but I do a lot of posters. So they're like character posters, and I write their names, and it's super pretentious. It's like real movies, but it's like at the same time, it's like really cute. It's like with toys, and I love to do this, and it hypes people up. And so I organize myself like 7 days before the release of a video. What do I post each day? And so with character posters, what's cool about them is that I always release one every day until the video is released. And yeah, sometimes trailers come before the character posters or in between. And after that, you let the YouTube do its job, which is feed it to the people, and you hope that the algorithm says, hey, people like that, I'll take it. There you go. Yeah, that's it's pretty simple. That's what it is for marketing. And in terms of sharing, I don't really send links to people, except when I'm simping like a big creator, and I'm like, hey, you might like this. And somebody who would not see my video if I do not send a link. I've actually done this a few times. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but when it works, it's like pretty cool.
Quick question for you though. When you, and this relates to this answer, when you made that Ben 10 stop motion short, did you send that video to Yuri Lowenthal, or did someone else do it and he just responded?
Oh, I think I tagged him on my Twitter. Yeah, I tagged him. It was like, oh, Ben 10 stop motion. And then turns out he's the kind of guy who sees these things, and I guess he just reposted it. And
yeah,
that was like a miracle. I was like, very cool. Yeah. Some people like to be in the community, and I think that's really cool. But yeah, I don't really count on that. It's just, those are like bonuses.
We love to see it.
We do.
Yeah. How about you, Daniel?
Well, yeah, much like Leo, Instagram is the primary source of retention, I suppose, because there are a lot of people on Instagram, and I think the YouTube algorithm is the downfall of your retention on YouTube. So if you're on Instagram, the feed does a better job of linking you with people with similar interests and sharing your stuff out there in order for you to get the word out in a much more comprehensive scale, because it's just a double tap feature. You have a couple of things that people can see and people can like, and you can host polls and you can do Q&As. It's very comprehensive, very sleek, and very the user interface is really easy to use, even for boomers per se. So I think Instagram is a fantastic mode of transportation.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're all unilaterally in agreement on that one. We talked about it in a previous episode of the podcast, actually. Mm-hmm. How we were discussing social media and how Instagram is kind of like the go-to platform because it's so flexible and versatile, and you could do so many different things with it all at the same time. So, I mean, Instagram is definitely a great outlet because you can make a post, you can make a story, you could do a live stream or Q&A, or you could do reels or IGTV full uploads and highlights. There are so many different little things that you could do. I think, are boomerangs still a thing?
I think so, yeah.
So, I mean, Instagram has so much flexibility and dexterity as a platform. It's a very good place to get stuff out there. And yeah, I mean, there's a number of different things that I do personally in terms of what format of advertising and marketing I do. Like, I know, Leo, you said that you really like doing the character posters with the actors' names and kind of like releasing one a day until you get to the release date of a project.
Yeah.
Are there any others you really like to do? Because I know you really do. You do some mean teaser trailers as well.
Oh, yeah. Coming back to Instagram, I think Facebook has more potential of, getting people interested in your videos. Right. I think because Facebook, it has a huge power. It's like they have communities and groups, and once people share in those communities, in those groups that have, sometimes hundreds and thousands of followers, and sometimes it works really well. It's just, but I don't push it enough, but I've seen the statistics on my videos in my YouTube analytics. And I've seen that Facebook, even though I don't do shit on Facebook, it has a surprising amount of traffic.
Right.
Traffic, yeah. And I was surprised. It's like, Instagram, I push so much on Instagram, but Facebook, it's still there, even though I don't push it. And so I realized Facebook has a lot of power. So I think I might try to push onto that. So yeah, here's something that I noticed, and maybe you guys can do something with it. But I think Facebook is harder. That's the thing. You don't have it's not like an explore page like on Instagram. So in that sense, it's a lot more difficult. But it's like the algorithm, once somebody catches it and likes it, and once you get the groove of it, it's like, it could really serve you. Other than the character posters, okay. The trailers, I love trailers. Like, honestly, trailers are so important to me that I remember when I was a kid, I kept visualizing trailers. When I was a kid, I was like, what if I were to do a Transformers Revenge of the Fallen trailer? How would it look like? And it would be super cringy because I was a kid and I think about stupid shit. But, I think it that's where it starts, and when you start to shoot, when you're shooting, actually, sometimes you imagine scenes and you're like, that's a good trailer shot. And, you mount up something. Yeah, usually when I do a trailer, it's like halfway during the production. So I'm not even done shooting. I just take whatever I've done, I make a trailer out of it that seems a little too cool for what it is. That's just by watching a lot of trailers, honestly. You guys watch a lot of trailers and you'll get inspired immediately. And then sometimes plagiarize, copy. That's what I do sometimes.
Daniel, you're pretty you're pretty well versed on the trailer side too, huh?
Oh yeah.
Like you like doing trailers all the time as well.
If Project 422 trailers were a thing, I would be my mission would be complete. But yeah, I do put out a lot of trailers and teasers because a lot of people, you get a lot of traction. That's how that's how most movies are seen, and that's how they're sold and marketed to people, because they find something in a trailer or a TV spot or a poster that catches their eye. And I think that's a really powerful tool. If you can utilize it properly, you can make the most out of it, and hopefully people will gravitate towards what you're selling. And hopefully, even though you didn't give much away, like I don't think anything from Under the Dark really gave any of the project away. Hopefully people will like the end result.
Yeah. And also, have fun with trailers, honestly, because trailers are so fun because there's so many ways to do it. Like, if you look at the trailers that I make, I think one for Clone Wars, it was a homage to the season 5 trailer of Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Mm.
The one with The Last Jedi was basically I made a trailer for each character, and it was like it was starting with a quote from the character, and then there's like this, build up with music, and it's like you can really experiment artistically with trailers. That's really fun. And even with my Endgame that was out in February, I believe, I made I literally used old Japanese music that was from Kurosawa's films.
Yes.
And I just made something very vintage looking, and I was like, oh, that would be pretty fun. I did it, and it was peculiar, but I had a lot of fun doing it. So yeah, just have some fun and experiment.
Go crazy with it. Yeah, for sure. And by the way, I love that trailer. That was refreshing as well.
Yeah, thanks. I had so much fun with this one, actually. It's basically just conversation, and it's with barely any action into it. And of course, Endgame ended up making pretty good views. But of course, there's barely any action in that 23-minute video.
It's very much a character study.
Kind of, yeah. I tried.
Yeah. I haven't really explored posters as much as either of you two have. Like, I know, Daniel, you haven't done as many posters for your stop motions as you have, like, just posters for the fun of it. Like, you've done posters for, like, the upcoming Marvel shows or movies. Mm-hmm. You did stuff for Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like, so you're pretty well versed on the poster side. I haven't done as much of that, admittedly, because I'm just not that good at posters. I mean, I know how to Photoshop, I know how to do that kind of editing, but I've never really enjoyed that as much as I do just the storytelling in and of itself. But with trailers, I think we're all in agreement, because there's a beauty to making basically a mini movie within a movie, and you have to kind of toe the line and strike the right balance between how much information you're giving away and how much information you're withholding. You want to entice the viewers with whatever it is that you're presenting, but you also want to keep your secrets, so that way they have something to look forward to that they just don't know yet. So it's like having that ability to kind of tell kind of a baseline part of a story, or kind of give hints as to what the story might be in this much shorter time length, is pretty powerful stuff. So I've really enjoyed, like mini trailers or like small teaser short videos that kind of just hint at what's yet to come. Especially if I can get a little bit more artsy with it. Like the coming attractions video I did, which was basically just like single snippets of possible ideas in the Stealthabotte roadmap of the future, potentially. Even though so far I haven't even followed that roadmap yet, because the project I've been working on right now has almost nothing to do with what I've teased in that video. But that's what happens. And then the project before that was not on the itinerary at all either. So it happens. But yeah, I think trailers are a lot of fun. Short little teaser animations, like rather than doing posters, I did like those mini animation shorts for WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. I wish I could have done it back in the day for the likes of Daredevil and the Marvel Netflix shows and stuff like that, to kind of build up the hype for those, but also kind of make my own art and do a little contribution to kind of just collectively hyping up the mainstream media, as well as my own personal makings and machinations, I guess. But yeah, there's a lot of cool little formats and stuff that you can do with that. That's fun. And there's just like the last little follow-up question on that front. Do you think that your favorite form of advertising is also the one that gets you the most viewership? Or do you think that there's something else instead that you could be doing that might get more hype, such as doing like behind the scenes vlogs of the production process as it's happening? Or maybe you want to focus on something that's a little less upfront. Maybe you have just like casting announcements, or maybe you just have like literally you just take a photo of a character and nothing about the set, or just a photo of the set and not what characters will be on it. Do you think that there are other forms of advertising your projects that you could dabble into that might get more hype?
In more less obvious ways, like you said, like maybe, you shoot a picture of a character and you're just posting it. You're like, what's going on here? But I feel like my fan base or my audience doesn't really give a shit. They're just there for the thrill, I feel like. And so what I do is something very simple and it works. And so I just stick with that. And sure, I could go really like creative with the marketing tactics. And, but I think they work better on film with actual movies. With, such a niche audience like mine, who, 90% of my audience is from the algorithm, aka my non-subscribers. I don't think it's that important, honestly. And I have a lot of fun doing it. That's why I do it. And also it hypes up, but I'm doing it the way I know. And it works. That's pretty much it.
Would you say your answer is the same, Daniel?
I'd say so. Maybe more so, again, because Instagram is, you don't want to be making, like, obviously if trailers were made and no one could see them, no one would know it existed. So you got to post it somewhere where people would definitely see it. But also you want to enjoy that process, as Leo was saying. You want to be able to know that what you're posting is in fact going to be effective in the manner that you want it to be, and to the extent that you want, how effective you want it to be. So I think, so far Instagram has been really, it's worked really well for that. And YouTube is just, I think, an output platform for the stuff that you're advertising. At least that's how I do it. And it's worked pretty well so far.
Yeah, there's only we can only go so far with marketing because our videos are not movies. They're just videos on YouTube. And so we do this, but it's like nobody really promotes it. It's not a sponsor or anything. There's no sponsors or anything. It's just us doing it for fun and trying to, put it out there and show the people that something's coming. And the rest of the job, honestly, it's just my videos rely so much on the algorithm. I feel like the suggestion pages, the home pages, and the recommend page. That coming back to what I said, I don't think the marketing, we should put too much importance into. They can only go so far, honestly, and they're really fun. And while you're at it, just have fun.
I was gonna say part of the variation from trailers or posters that I've seen you do is like with particularly your Justice League versus Avengers announcements. You kind of showed just what characters are going to be in the lineup, and you showed the custom figures that you've been making for that project. And that kind of in and of itself is still, in a way, is kind of marketing and advertising what you're working on in terms of a project, even though it's just a little bit different from the likes of what you do.
Yeah.
For trailers and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. I can see that. Yeah. My customs, I feel like they bring a lot of people in. They're really people are very interested in customs. That in itself is very interesting. You could totally hype up people with what you use with the figures that you use. If you customize, you can totally be like, oh well, I'm making this and it's going to be in my stop motion. And then if they're really attracted to that, then they'll go watch your stop motion. And
it's kind of, I don't even know if you realize that you were technically marketing or advertising through like posting those things. Cause it's like, you're like, I made this cool custom and it's going to be in a video. But that in and of itself might gauge viewers to watch your stuff because they might see that and like, I want to see how that looks with other figures. I want to see how it moves and how it like kind of seeing what that would look like beyond just still photos. So it kind of in and of itself entices and incites viewers to possibly come your way as well. So It's kind of outside the box.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah, I guess it is kind of marketing. It's really planting the seeds, yeah.
You're like, oh, I didn't expect to have my post psychoanalyzed like this.
Oh, well, analyzed I am, yes.
But yeah, it's a fascinating like domino effect almost. You do it because you want to, and then it catches on. And when it catches on, there's all of a sudden this pressure put on you to be like, oh, do I got to top this one, or do I just keep doing what I'm doing?
Yeah. With that said, we're going to move on to the next question. Just give our brains just a little bit of a break.
Yes.
We were kind of talking about, you kind of hinted at this too, which is really funny in your previous answer. So I'm wondering if there's going to kind of be a little bit of a recap on your end, or if you have any additional insight for it. But in cultivating content and marketing or advertising it, in doing any of those things, there comes an audience that may need to be grown and maintained. Naturally, it's a nice feeling to see so many people appreciate the creations you're contributing to their amusement. But at the same time, this can be both a blessing and a curse. That audience can validate or annihilate your confidence based on how critical they can be of you and what you do after you release something you've poured your heart into making. Or they might pressure you with expectations that they have for something that you're doing, and they're hoping it will be something great based on whatever it is that you're planning. Their imagination might not meet whatever it is that you have on the page that you're going to bring to the screen. Over time, what have you found to be your favorite and least favorite part of having and growing an audience? And do you have any advice for how to keep and maintain what's good about that audience and improve what's maybe not?
My audience is very weird, honestly, because as I said, 90% of my viewers are non-subscribers, and which is really weird because I feel like sometimes when I upload a new video, it's like a reset. You know, there's not an ongoing audience that keeps expecting from previous videos. Since they're non-subscribers, they all jump in a lot of them are like their first time watching my channel. And they're just like, wow, that's really cool. Wow, what's this figure? Where can I buy it? Oh, cool. You know, this is what I get. But the portion that actually follows my content, there's the good and the bad, of course. And I'd say the bad is like, they compare a lot between my older projects and my new projects. And they don't really understand that I like to change, that I like to, you know, not do the same things.
Have a variety, if you will.
Yeah. They don't really understand that. Because all they got to do is click on a video that's from 3 years ago and they'd be like, hey, I want more of that, you know? But like for me, it's been 3 years. 3 years ago, that's like a long time ago, you know? And so much has happened. I'm just like, well, I can't really just go back, you know that? And they don't really understand that.
Right.
And of course, expectations from my series that I have often neglected or put on the shelf for too long, that obviously it always, you know, keeps crawling on my back, like always, like even now. Just, you know, as I get older, I get new projects, my ambition changes, my goals in life change, and like sometimes I want to move on from the past, but I realize that I actually can't, or can I? It's like, yeah, that's what this audience makes me question. And I really love my audience because they're basically the people who support my work. But yeah, if we're talking about negative side, I think that would be it, honestly. This pressure of just keeping up with the past, whether, you know, it's been like 5 years or not, you know? And of course, the opposite, there's so much. There's the community, there's the fact that they support me. And also, you know, sometimes I have, what is this? Imposter syndrome, right?
Oh,
is that
same?
Yeah. We've all been there. We should start a therapy group or something. Before we end up making our own like WandaVision reality, you know?
Yeah, we'll start one with Wanda and Loki. They all need it. And yeah, I feel like sometimes my work's not really that good, and I was just there by chance. And what they make me realize that my work is fairly good. And they're like, they keep track with the little details that I put in my stories that I never thought they would. And sometimes when they point it out, it changes my whole mood. I was like, I get really happy. I'm like, wow,
Right.
people actually care, man. What the hell? And then it forces me to, keep it up.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's what I have to say about, the bad and good.
Right.
But I really appreciate my growing audience. But yeah, as I said, it's an audience that's not very, it's a little unpredictable, I gotta say. As I said, it's like most of them are not even subscribers. So yeah, it's unpredictable. And when it's not like Endgame, which is definitely for the audience that follows my previous videos, they have expectations. And so you have to confront that. And, I change and they don't really realize it. Yeah. I guess that's some sort of internal problem that I find.
And that was a brilliant way to merge the future Leo Legendary and the past Leo Legendary. It's almost like you were coming to terms with the fact that so many people were like begging for a continuation of Infinity Future. So you were just like, you know what? Screw it. We're connecting Endgame to Infinity Future so that, these two things can collide, and this is
appease both audiences at the same time. Kill two birds with one stone. Rather than be trapped in a box, you just open the box and stuff another box inside of it.
That's right. That's what it feels like, yeah. And now you gotta find another box, maybe, just to wrap it up.
All of a sudden, it's all of a sudden the Avengers and the Justice League, then they have to go into the Infinity Future. And then the Transformers and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, all of them end up in the Infinity Future. It's like, well, hope you're happy.
Spoiler alert for my Endgame series. I'm not sure if anyone cares, but I don't even know if I'm going to end the story. Like, honestly, it's such a big story. And I'm so busy with like other projects, outside of Leo Legendary. It's like, I don't even know if I can actually have enough time and energy to finish all of that. And, the MCU keeps going. It has No Way Home. It has Doctor Strange in the Multiverse. It has Kang. It's like, I want to explore that too, but it's like, it's never ending. And it's like, I don't know what
We're not the TVA. There's only so much time in a day.
Yeah. It's like, I even thought like, what if I skip Endgame and I play with the whole multiverse instead to wrap things up?
Right.
But then I know that my established fan base is basically going to murder me. And so, I really have no idea what I'm going to do, man.
That's really interesting, actually, keeping it open-ended. That would be something I'd like be really invested in.
Have a bunch of your fans come up with endings and just share them in a video.
Now I'm doing fun stuff that are unrelated to anything. Like, I was doing Godzilla when, Godzilla vs. Kong was out. And I had so much fun. Like, that shit was hella fun. Like, I was just playing with toys, basically. And then I had Japanese actors, and then George, my man, and then it was just really fun. It was just disconnected with like anything that I made. And I wanted to do that more. And so I did like Naruto, who I actually made one video 5 years ago, but 5 years ago, come on. And I made Naruto. That was also a very successful video. And it was, it was just fun, just purely fun. So I decided to continue that trend. So now I'm on to Avengers versus Justice League, which is like so random, right? But it's so fun. Like, it's just so much fun. And so I've decided that I wanted to do stuff that I liked, that brought fun for me. And
right.
That's why I have no idea what's going to happen to Endgame. That's why I have no idea. Endgame is so much commitment, man. Like, it's such a huge cast. Bro, this was such a huge cast. I'm not even kidding. Like, That thing
Right.
was actually an actual cast, and the script, I have to write it, I have to animate everything, sound effects, music, and then I have to find the new voice actors for the new characters, and then I have to send the script for every one. Oh God.
Yeah. Don't have a panic attack on us.
And Godzilla versus Kong. I have like 2 human characters and they speak and that's it, And then the rest is like
Right. Yeah, it's a very
that's it.
It's a fascinating ebb and flow when it gets to like the variety, I suppose, that comes with the projects that you work on. It's a very like you said, it's very consumer based, and when it like a part of the reason why Animators Assembled stuck out to me is because we have just a bunch of people working on things that they want to work on, not because they have like an overly huge audience. And I think the best part about it, or one of the best parts about it, is you get to explore what you want to make and see what people would respond to in the way that they want to respond to. Because at the end of the day, you're a passionate creator. You're going to make things whether or not people watch it, because you want to make it, right, and you're passionate about it and you love it. And yeah, I think that it's great that we have more and more people doing what they want to do, and that people the consumers end up liking it just as much as we do, and hearing about people who catch the tidbits that you leave in there for them. Those are the ones to hold on to. Like those are the people that are actually paying attention and care a lot more than you might have initially thought.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, honestly, just doing what I want to do for fun, that's honestly been something kind of new, but I am addicted to it. It's like, I just want to keep doing it.
Right.
And, Godzilla versus Kong, man, that shit was busting. Like, look at the views.
Right.
Incredible. Like, the views on this, like, it's almost like, what is it? I don't even know where it's at right now, but it's basically like the triple of Endgame.
The one and done one-offs are less of a commitment for you as well as the people who are tuning in for it. They could just kind of come in, immerse themselves in it, experience it, enjoy it, just like you when you're making it for the channel and for the algorithm, for whatever audience may follow. And then you can move on to the next completely different experience without worrying about the expectations of, trying to pay off whatever's been set up in a previous project and the interconnectivity of it. Yeah. You can really just kind of focus on it's living in the moment versus focusing on the entire journey from beginning to end.
Yeah.
It's like what I think James Gunn talked about it in in his interviews about the Marvel Cinematic Universe versus the DC multiverse, where he was kind of talking about the fact that DC currently is just kind of having fun, experimenting, doing one-off projects one at a time, rather than focusing on how interconnected everything is. Whereas the Marvel Cinematic Universe, everything rides or dies on how interconnected it is.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more restriction, and there's a lot more, we were literally just talking about Black Widow versus Loki right before we started officially recording this. And we were talking about how these two different projects feel so completely disconnected from one another. And it's kind of like night and day, but they're all still ultimately restricted and tied down to the same obligatory, all canonical sort of system. Everything has to connect. And when something doesn't pay off well, that kind of impairs the entire future of that universe. It's like, oh, I don't like what they did with this character. Maybe there's no room for that character to be done justice later on. Or, oh, I really didn't like how they handled this story, and there's no way to redo that story because this or that. Actors might have left or whatever it may be. So it's, even on our small scale, we still deal with those big problems when dealing with much bigger, longer term commitments. So it's kind of an interesting to play around with.
Yeah. And it's really great too when you get to make something for a group of people that, like, you start out by making things that you like, and then other people like it too, and then attention becomes a drug, and then you become an addict, and then you just have to keep feeding and feeding into it and creating something that you will eventually... I don't know. I've seen two sides of the spectrum. You could either loathe it or you can end up loving it, and it's a roll of the dice, and that's one of the many trips that you have to take in order to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, you literally said, like, drug. It's like you're the drug dealer who does your own drugs in addition to selling them off. Like, you're the maker of the drugs, and you're also kind of living off of them, feeding off of them, but you're also dispersing it to others too. To clarify, we are not drug addicts. I hope that's I hope that's clear.
That's clear. AA does not
AA this is not Alcoholics Anonymous. It's Animators Assembled. I apologies for the confusion. But yeah, it's all very interesting how we're tying all this into the conversation. What I was basically going to say, I was going to kind of actually talk about something I realized I forgot to talk about with the previous question about, you know, the marketing and like different tactics. It actually makes more sense for me to talk about it now because we're talking about the audience expectations and whatnot, because obviously my audience that I have and grown has largely come not from my content creation, but from my participation in other people's content creation as a voice actor and performer, more than a filmmaker and content creator. Most people know me first and foremost as a voice actor, and most people, when they interact with me or reach out to me, they're usually asking me to work for them. They're asking, hey, can you do this voice for this project, this many lines by this date? And it's for this is the kind of character I'm trying to set up with this role, rather than, you know, I'm invested and interested in what you have to say and what you have to make. So that's kind of part of my favorite and least favorite part of the audience, because there's that expectation that I'm going to continue performing for other people.
Right.
But then there's also a part of it where I want to kind of showcase who I am and what I do. And when I market myself, I kind of talked about how I'm not overly big on doing posters, but I love making trailers. I love doing stop motion animation filmmaking. I love live action filmmaking. I love doing it all, really, on the filmmaking side of it. But when it comes to advertising and promoting, I like showing behind the scenes clips of how it comes together, because that's all part of the filmmaking process. That excites me. But that's not necessarily something that everyone wants to see as much. Like, I might show like green screen stills of characters on set, or I might show the digital background I made, or teasers of the edits, or I might show like different clips and compilation tidbits. But that's not as exciting as, you know, the storytelling itself, or as exciting as, oh, when are you going to be in this person's video or that person's video? And I guess for me, it's like that nagging thing of like, I want to ultimately, the best part is the fact that I've inspired other voice actors and other stop motion animators to kind of try and juggle both. I've served as that sort of like role where people can look up to me, as well as so many other people who I've been fortunate enough to work with, and be inspired to, you know, do that themselves. But there's also that fear of not being able to, you know, like you were saying, branch out from that box that you're kind of fit in, and kind of like you're only limited to that thing. And when you try something else, people are like, oh, I think I got a comment one time saying you should just stick to voice acting.
Yeah.
That I immediately deleted. And then another comment was like, in regards to a stop motion I made, come on, you should do better than this. You work for so many people who do better than this. It's like, ooh, you really feel it, because there are expectations that people have for you because of not only what you do, but what you also do for others and what they may do. It's like you're an unwilling participant in competition for people's attention, as well as competing against other people for your attention, in a sense. And it's all kind of just like, you kind of have to ultimately focus on what you want to do, what you are passionate about, because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. Loving what you do and loving who you do it with, more so than trying to meet impossible imagination expectations that others might set for you that you didn't really intend on trying to meet. It's not your job to please everybody else. it's your job to just kind of do the best that you can with what you have, and for other people as well as yourself, at least in my personal opinion. So I guess being an inspiration and a role model is great and all, but also the having to live up to that ideal and example, and that sort of like, you know, trying to be as good as people hope that you are and want you to be, and kind of toe the line between doing what they want you to do versus what you really want to do and what you're passionate about. That all kind of factors in this conversation, and you can only do so much to assist it other than just do what you love. And if you don't love doing it, then why are you putting yourself through that pain? So that's kind of where my mind goes to with all that. Cause it's like you said, imposter syndrome is a big deal. I think every creator has it to an extent. You don't want to fall short or fail, not just what others have in mind for you, but also yourself. You want to achieve certain goals and set out to do certain things. So ultimately you got to love doing it, and you got to focus more on the fact that you're doing something good for yourself and maybe for other people beyond that too.
Right. And I think is just like a spark of optimism for everyone who might want to start dipping their toes into this sort of thing. You keep doing what you love doing, because there's nothing more satisfying and there's nothing more compelling and profound than being able to see the fruits of your labor and being paid to do something that you would do for free. And it's just, you know, it's magical.
Yeah. And I think to that end too, you are you. No one else can be you or do things the way that you do. So you should be able to just kind of vibe with that, live with that, and just, you know, enjoy it, live in the moment of it. And hopefully the people who are worth having around will be there to appreciate it.
I think my solution to that is really just do what I feel like is right. And yeah, I agree with you all, man. That honestly, all those years, that's what I've been doing. That's why I've never really been bothered by, you know, stop motion drama or this pressure on this infinity future or this series and that series. It's like, yes, I feel some sort of pressure, but in the end, I always follow what I want to do. That's why I have like tons of weird videos. You know, if you just look at my channel, there's tons of videos that are just so random. And, you know, even the Last Jedi one was so freaking random. Especially since it's based on a movie that a lot of people hate. And I just followed it, you know, what I wanted to do. And artistically, I was like, you know, this shit is great. I'm gonna do it. And basically that's what kept me going. Otherwise I'd be dead, man. So yes, just really, you gotta follow your voice. And I have to say, you need to find a balance, because there are the projects that are more, you know, bait, right? The projects, you know, people are going to watch. We all know what we're talking about. And you need to have to find a balance. Like, you can't just do projects that are like random and little projects that you want to do. If you want to grow significantly, you have to understand that you have to make those kind of videos too. Those videos that people will click. And that's the hard thing, actually. It's to find this balance between what you personally really want to do and what you know you got to do. I think I've done it pretty well, because I've never really been totally depressed about my content. I try to mix it together, like, and, you know, have some sort, let's say I have Spider-Man. Obviously Spider-Man gets a lot of views, but at the same time, I don't want to just do Spider-Man, because that gets boring, you know? And so I try to make something weird with it, you know? Always try to do something weird, something special, and naturally you'll grow some sort of affinity with this, and you'll be like, I love doing this, and it's also great for, you know, the people. And I'm off to a totally other subject. Find balance.
No, keep going. This is great.
Find balance. You gotta find balance and not just do videos for views. But you also have to acknowledge that if you want to grow, like, you know, significantly, as I said, you have to also implement those, you know, bait videos or bait topics in a creative way that you enjoy, you know? So basically this all fits in the theme of doing what you like, what you feel like is fun for you. And I've come to a point where I just want to have fun with random subjects. I'm at that point, man. Like Godzilla versus Kong. That's the pure example. It's like, I've never done this shit before. It's ridiculous. And I'm going to do it.
And you had good timing on your side, too, because Godzilla vs. Kong was coming out as a movie. Like, it wasn't just like a fan-made crossover like Avengers versus Justice League, even though James Gunn kind of talked about that possibly happening. This was an actual official thing that you were fortunate enough to be able to kind of like capitalize on, but still do your own thing in the process. And that's really cool.
Yeah, this whole timing thing, that's so important to grow. If you want to grow a channel, you gotta know what gets clicks. I gotta say, you really do have to know, and you also have to have timing by your side, which is probably the hardest thing, honestly. And I was fortunate enough to, you know, really strike the iron while it's hot during the Civil War and Homecoming and Infinity War days. I did it all, but now it's like times have changed. You know, I got really busy and now I can't really do that. Godzilla was really a miracle, and actually Naruto also was great timing too. I don't know how I did that.
You got lucky.
I guess I got lucky, man. Like, it's just, I guess it's some sort of proof that what I'm doing right now is good. You know, maybe it's fate. You know, maybe it's fate. It's telling me that, yeah, keep doing this. People like it. And maybe, I don't know. I do believe in fate. That's the most spiritual thing about me. I believe in fate. I actually do. I really do.
Absolutely.
Anyways, now we're up to spirituality. You guys can move on to.
I love this episode. Has been great, though.
Well, here's the interesting thing. So the final two questions that we really kind of had were both things we just talked about.
Right.
Which is really poetic.
Yeah.
It's like this conversation has kind of just had this supernatural flow, and the outline's like, oh, we kind of already talked about what we were going to ask in these questions. So I guess this is a little bit more recap-esque. But first and foremost, we were talking about this is actually the last question on the outline, but I'm going to shake it up. With marketing and advertising yourself, there might be a tendency to be typecast or branded as one thing that people expect you to be the most, such as, say, a stop-motion animator first and foremost, rather than a filmmaker or artist, or in my case, a voice actor is what more people know me as than, you know, content creator. While some people do not mind this, others might feel that it overshadows their other abilities, especially when you're a person of many talents or someone who creates content in the same form, but in maybe a bunch of different styles or genres, like tackling comedies, actions, dramas, yada, yada. It can be really tough trying to explore these things that go outside the comfort zone of your viewers and break the mold that they might have cast you in. So you kind of already talked about it a little bit, but once again, do you feel that your viewers generalizing you and what you do is something that impacts your image and your ability to spread your wings as an artist?
No.
No? Nice.
Even if they try, which is actually happening with my Marvel series, right? They think like, I used to think that it was the core of my channel, this Marvel series. I just think that's what keeps my channel alive. But then I look around and I see Naruto. What else? Other videos of Star Wars and Transformers.
You said the Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah, Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah, they are as successful, and I just come to the term that Marvel is not just the only thing that I can do, and then
right.
And so I made Batman, right?
Yeah.
I've made Batman. And it was a success too, and it was just a fight, a simple fight.
It was elegant because it was such a simple thing. It was something that a lot of fans could relate to as well. It was kind of like, yeah, it was a Batman stop motion, and Batman's always going to get clicks in some shape or form. But you also had a fun little spin on it because it was about the Justice League and stuff like that. Yeah. And it was kind of like you have that typical, it's like something about your brand in particular. You have this like comedic awareness, but it's all that doesn't stop you from being badass or gritty, but you also have this just like
the absurdity,
overly goofy sort of like premise. It's like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Power Rangers 2017 movie fighting over a Krispy Kreme. You know, it's like so zany and absurd, but it's also still really cool, and it can still be taken seriously to an extent.
Right.
And it's just a great time.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
Like how the second part of his Civil War, like, it's such a dramatic conclusion to that series. But then you also have Hulk screaming as he as he jumps. Yeah.
Oh, the first time I watched that video, that totally, like, I had to stop watching for a second. Like, wait, did I hear that right? Like, I had to double take because it just, it's so good.
Because honestly, in reality, I'm such a crackhead, and it's like I cannot just not be one. And when I make these serious videos, I always gotta put a little something that's like very stupid.
Yeah, it's gotta be you.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of stupid factor in my stop motions, and I don't know, I'm fucking proud of it. And I actually forgot what I was gonna say.
Well, feel free to interrupt if it comes back to you. But Daniel, what about you?
I mean, I think it's that thing of, like, you hear the name LeoLegendary10 and you don't think of, oh, he's a Transformers specific animator, or he's he tailors his videos to Marvel or DC in particular. Right. But you just take him as an animator and a storyteller because that's who he wants to present himself as. And I think that's also the case with me, where right from the jump, I didn't want to name myself. And this isn't against the people who did name themselves, like, after something like a company or like a Marvel, this is Marvel Stop Motions Productions or something. But I think it's like, I don't want to generalize myself first and foremost. Like, you only want to control how your outlook is going to be on yourself and how you are perceived by yourself, because you can't control how other people see you. At this point, I have no hold on how people are going to see me after the next project I put out, or the past projects that I put out, if that's going to determine whether or not people see me as an artist anymore, because from what I did back then, it wasn't as good. So it's really something you have zero control over, and the best thing to do in a circumstance like that is lead the charge and make sure that you first and foremost know what you want to do and know how you want to be seen by yourself and how you want to control the way the narrative goes. And hopefully that'll dictate where you go next, because frankly, you're the only one who can. Yeah, go ahead.
There's a silver lining in being quartered into one thing. There's one good thing about it, and it's the audience. And so, you guys know Lozov's one, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Well, this guy, mad talented, and he makes basically Spider-Man videos. And since that's one of the things that he always doing, his audience knows what to expect,
right?
And they enjoy it, and that creates it creates a fan base that is much more narrow, and sometimes that can be pretty cool, I gotta say, because my fan base is like all over the place. And so when he uploads, it's like everyone is on it. It's like, oh, shit, he's at it again. Right. I'm on it. And they watch Spider-Man, or whether it's Iron Man, it's always like the same characters. And, it's such a simple notion. And if you're comfortable with it, and if it works, like this guy, it could be a good thing, honestly. Yeah. I guess there are some perks. Yeah, there's definitely some perks. So I guess it's not all black and white, it's really.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, it depends.
Baby, it's a weird analogy, but it's like you're babysitting. You get to tell them where to go, and they all of a sudden they know what to do and how to do it. If you do it enough times, that they won't really question where you go next because they trust you. And in the same sense that they'll only see you as that, and they won't really see you as someone who, I guess, branches off into a multitude of other things, because
it's like it's comfort, right? Yeah.
What about you, Michael?
With my situation in particular, it's a little bit different from what everyone else kind of has said here. in regards to me as a content creator and a voice actor and performer, all of those things, I admittedly, unlike it's something that is a little bit more of a struggle and a little bit more of an issue at times because of the fact that I have, and this is something that I've kind of been dealing with throughout my life in a sense. I love to do so many different things. I'm very good at so many different things. And the issue is I'm very spread out and almost spread out too thin. And a lot of people know me for these different capacities that I'm partaking in. So it's like when it comes to what people see me as and when people kind of generalize me as just one thing, even though in another life and in another facet or component of my life, I'm known for something that's completely different. It's like I'm a jack of all trades, and I'm a master of several. It's something for me that I feel like I have to occasionally just kind of punch up against a little bit. Like I'm a little bit underweight in the weight class. I kind of have to work my way up and through those things. It doesn't really matter as much what others think of me as much as it does me knowing that I can do so many other things. And there are so many things that I want to share with the world and share with the people that I love, and honestly share to myself, like prove to myself that I'm capable of doing all of these different things and doing them well. So it's something that, I mean, it bothers me a little bit when people only see me as one thing. But I, like you said, Daniel, I can't control what others see me as or think. And there is a silver lining in, like Leo, like what you said, there's a silver lining in people knowing what you can do so clearly because they know you're really good at what you can do in that certain regard. And it's just a matter of showcasing the other things that you could do. It might be a benefit. People might know you for one thing and then they might realize, wait, you can also do that too? That's really cool. Like in Leo, your case, you do really good customs. Like you do good custom figure works. And Daniel, you do really good graphics and photo visual stuff in addition to your storytelling and dialogue and all these other things. We each have multiple very unique and very clearly defined talents that really can help us express ourselves. And it's just a matter of really, once again, paving our own path, proving that we're more than just maybe one particular thing, or that we can be good at other things if we want to be, and we can show that we're good at those other things. So that's kind of the way I see it. It's a little bit, it's the grind. You kind of have to go through it. It's something that I have to actively kind of go through and fight through, but there is an upside and there are good things that can come from it if you work your way up that hill. So that's where I'd see that. The other question we were kind of already touching on a little bit was one that I'll just go through it and say it. In creating content for the medium that we work in, there are oftentimes trends that are bound to get creators traction with internet traffic, such as getting your audience through the algorithm. Big movies or shows with certain IP or household names coming out oftentimes encourages fans to want more of it beyond what's officially made. And makers like us oftentimes feed that demand with content that they can supply. Sometimes this could be creatively stifling, since straying away from what's canon can alienate audiences, but no deviation at all is considered unoriginal plagiarism. Additionally, these projects can take time away from projects that otherwise would be out of the spotlight, things that might be not as popular, something that might be a passion for you, but might be a pass for others and viewers. From what you've done over the years, how often do you gravitate towards making what the markets advertise to audiences? And do you feel it's difficult to juggle your own unique ideas within or beyond those projects with what people expect to see in them?
Yeah, that's actually interesting. The fact that people, they tend to label your work as like plagiarizing unoriginal crap when you're just basically reenacting what's going on. And to avoid that, I've tried to mix, let's say, a storyline. I mix it with my own original action, my own, flavor. Whether it's my own comedy, my own action scenes, my own greediness, whatever it is. And this basically it pushes me to keep doing this because you have so much fun expressing your own artistic vision that when it mixes with the stuff that is less creative and more unoriginal, it creates something new. That's why I think my series is so strange. It's like it's the movie, but it's not. So I guess that's kind of like a middle point, as I was saying earlier. It's kind of like a middle point to really do the popular stuff while also maintaining some sort of unique vision. And I've come so far with the series that now I'm at a point where with Endgame, basically everything is original. So that's a strange culmination, I gotta say. Everything has been a mix of unoriginal and original, but things don't accumulate as expected because whether you like it or not, there's something different. And when all of it, when there's a culmination, then you got to deal with the difference, which is the original stuff that I created. And that is Endgame. That shit is completely different. It's like there's almost nothing that's similar to Endgame.
One could call it an endgame changer. I'm sorry.
I guess, yeah. It is. And, but you know what? Even though I almost died doing it, I had a lot of fun. The fact that I could pull off something of this length, it came from the fact that I could tell a story that was my own. So yes, that I think is the middle point.
Fantastic. And really, I think that's all that matters. If you can do something that people love, again, we're going back to this, but it's pretty much the most crucial aspect to becoming a creator. If you can do something that you love making and that you feel no obligation to do, but you still do it, and at the same time people will watch your stuff, that's a sweet spot that you want to hold on to as tight as you possibly can.
Yeah, completely agreed. I mean, I'm really happy that we're saying answers that aren't "it varies" all the time here. It's nice that we have very decisive and clear things that we can kind of acknowledge. Because for me, there have been rarely have I ever actually attempted to capitalize on a trend with my content creation. Usually I do it because it's fun. It's something I wanted to do anyway, and the trend just kind of so happens to be there. And it's like, for me, most of my work isn't really focused on what is happening out there in the official space or what other creators are making. I'm focused on what I want to make, the stories that I want to tell, and the stories that I want to help other people tell. It's not so much about whatever's popular for me, because my channel's never really been about that. I've been a storyteller, a creator and performer, just kind of doing what I wanted to do and having fun with it, and having fun with it with other people who are having fun with what they're doing. So it's kind of like, ultimately, again, the whole theme of just having fun with what you're doing and have fun with other people who are doing the same as you. And if you're having fun with capitalizing on these rollout trends, if that's what you enjoy doing, then more power to you. If you have fun with telling your own stories that literally have nothing to do with what's going on right now, they are completely otherwise irrelevant, have fun with it, run with it. It's so beautiful and powerful for you to be able to just kind of, it sounds almost a little bit selfish and narcissistic to say, but really just focusing all about you. And hopefully other people will gravitate towards it and appreciate what you're doing, because you're also doing it for them. There is a balance to find between them. But yeah, you could have fun with it all.
Because you don't want to make art at the expense of yourself. Otherwise, you'll end up miserable.
Bingo.
Or other people might be happy. It's like you're trying to make other people happy, but you in and of yourself are not happy. It's that thing that you want to avoid as best as you can, because if you're only trying to appease to everybody and trying to make what other people want to see, then you'll never really hit a goal, or you'll never make it to the place you want to get to, because you're always trying to tailor your work to where other people want to go. And so keep that close. Keep your motives and your morals close, because it's crucial. It's crucial to this process that you don't lose who you are in the midst of the vastness of how many people really want to see something that is just a dopamine rush for 30 seconds to 5 minutes. So, and I guess, like, for me, to cap off that question, I think I've always been the kind of person, I rarely do trends, and if I'm going to follow a trend, it would be, like Michael said, because I wanted to do it in the first place, and this was like the perfect opportunity to that opened that up. But if most of my content just it's basically a really bad surfer analogy. Like, I'm not going with the wave or not following the tide. I'm basically drowning in it and hoping to float. And I think it's worked so far. It was the fear for Under the Dark. It wasn't really, it wasn't really something I was certain was going to get a lot of views, or was certain that most people would agree with or resonate with, but it worked out in the end. And I don't know if it was lightning in a bottle or if it'll happen again, but as far as I'm concerned right now, it made me happy, and I'm happy that it's out, and I'm happy that people are happy watching it. And, yeah, so far that's all that matters.
Yeah, I love that stop motion. Actually, it's like,
thank you.
it's such an interesting one to not have Batman in it, and it did pretty well. I remember, the views are pretty good, and that ending was fire, bro. I remember.
Thank you. That shocked me too. I was so scared. Again, the number one fear putting that out was, this is not gonna do well, because the Dark Knight trilogy had ended like 8 years ago before I posted this, and then there's no Batman in the video. It's a bunch of no-name characters that are basically just suffering with the effects of what the Joker was doing, and all these pieces to juggle. And that was basically me turning my back against the norm or the algorithm. And it was just like all the odds were against my situation, and for it to work out is just an unbelievable feat. And I'm just like, I'm in awe that people are still longing for original and unique stories to tell, like Leo's Endgame, and the fact that was able to work because of it. Like, it's risky. Like, I remember Leo posting about it, and he was like, I don't know if many people will watch this because it's not like your typical versus video, and it's not following a trend, and Endgame was like a year ago. But that was the leap of faith that he took in order for it to succeed. And I guess we all have to, the part we have to play in that is really just taking the leap of faith. Like, we don't know if this is going to be a hit or if this is going to work out, but I loved it. And so hopefully other people loved it too.
Yeah. I guess the last thing I could say is it actually does kind of apply. It is kind of relevant, but it varies. It genuinely does. Because this is when you're trying to tackle projects that are what people want to see, what people have expectations of, you're not going to please everybody, but you're trying to please as many people as you can. But then if you're doing something that's completely different from what people are expecting of you, or what they're expecting of the pitch that you're presenting, and you follow through with your own vision, you will please yourself, most likely, hopefully. And hopefully others will be on board with that idea, and they'll run with you on that idea. It was kind of what led to the, like, going back, like, kind of just thinking about my own filmmaking, Nomad. Like, I know that was a project that kind of deviated a little bit from what people expected and what people thought, I was going to do, what you were going to do, Daniel, because it was a brawler fight scene, stop motion a little bit, but it also had hints at trauma. It had hints at, grief and guilt and toying with past mistakes and whether or not you're in a direction that will ultimately be what's best for you and the people around you. And it kind of had a lot of those undertones while still being a fight stop motion. So it kind of breathed new life into what I regularly do, what Daniel regularly does, and it kind of added a nice little flair to what would have otherwise been just a beat 'em up. Because I think a lot of people wanted to see the Nomad story a little bit because there are a lot of questions about that particular what if scenario. What happened between Civil War and Infinity War with Steve Rogers? It's kind of like how you with Under the Dark were asking the question of what if Heath Ledger were still alive and still a villain active in Batman's world. What if we had a different sequel that wasn't as disconnected from The Dark Knight? That's the story you were trying to tackle. And even with Leo, your Endgame, I loved working on that project, and I loved seeing that project for exactly what it was because it felt like such a breath of fresh air from what you would typically expect, from what you would regularly see. It does kind of follow a popular thing, but it also explores something that I don't think anyone really expected to see. A lot of these characters just kind of sitting with and wrestling with their like decisions. And I know your particular gimmick was the fact that they didn't remember the snap.
Yeah.
Which is really nice twist. I think it's so underappreciated. Just the fact that people didn't even know it happened and then suddenly they remembered and they had to grapple with whether or not they should do something about it. They had to grasp the fact that this is something that they completely were unaware of, blissfully ignorant to. It happened right under their noses until it suddenly wasn't. And they had to confront the fact that were they going to let that remain the case or are they going to actually do something to make it right?
Yeah.
And that was more compelling and powerful than any duking it out fisticuffs could ever be, in my humble opinion. Because fight scenes, they're always adrenaline pumping. They're fun, exciting to watch. But having these characters grapple with these questions and these situations that we all personally go through as people, as human beings, it kind of makes the viewers kind of have to sit with it and think, all right, well, what would I do in that scenario? And that is so much more thought-provoking. It's so much more investing, I guess, because you could just forget about a fight scene or be like, yeah, it had cool choreography. But if you remember how you feel and the thoughts that you had because of what a video project you saw made you think about, it could be a game changer. It can really make it memorable and have a lasting impact on the creativity and the, I guess, the creative freedom that future creators may take with whatever they do in the future. We talked about at the very beginning of this podcast, before we even start fully recording, the legacy we hope the stop motion community could and would have 5 years from now. And we don't know, but we kind of want to do something that will outlive us. And we kind of want people to remember what we did so that they could do something else and continue the work that maybe we started, or pick up the baton from where we left it, hand it off, pass it off to them, and see where it could go from here. We're looking at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and now we have something that's completely different from what anyone else could have possibly comprehended it could have been back in the day, a few years ago. We could have, I don't know if anyone thought what is happening right now would have been possible a few years back. And who knows what this current generation of Marvel is going to do for the future of Marvel beyond this. So that's kind of what we're doing with our own projects. And I think that's all ties into whether or not we just follow along with what official studios are doing, or if we really do want to forge our own forkway in the road, find our own footing.
Damn. Yeah, now I got to finish Endgame, man.
You're like, well, shit. All right. Well, thoughts or comments on all of that we just kind of unearthed together? We really went on a spiritual journey, huh?
Yeah, this is quite the this is a different kind of trip, and I appreciated it.
Good answer. That's what I gotta say.
Exactly. This is
yeah. Oh, wow.
You know what this is? This is a fresher breath air.
Bro, I just bugged.
See, I'm used to this. And most people aren't. But yeah, so that was a lot to process, but it was a hell of a time, a hoot and a holler.
Good shit, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, good answers. 4 questions and so much other stuff. Oh, wow. So, for everyone who's tuned in throughout this entire time, thank you so much for listening. And once again, all of our social media handles are available in different links you can find. If you're watching it on YouTube, you can see the handles on the screen. Please feel free to check out each of us individually, as well as our collaborative works. Obviously, both Daniel and I have worked with Leo on a couple of different things, and it's really cool. And obviously, we have our own other collaborations and stuff that we're actively working on right now, so stay tuned for that. Yeah. Please feel free to join us in the Animators Assembled Discord server, watch the other episodes of the podcast, or listen to the other episodes of the podcast, I should say. Check out the Animators Assembled Instagram account and all of our other stuff.
Thanks for being part of this so far, Leo. I hope this was as much of a blast for you as it is for us.
Yeah, honestly, all the shit that I just said it's probably the first time I've been saying it like vocally, I think. Maybe I said it once to CT Bill with like my chat friend.
Yeah.
My other friends don't really understand that because I'm not in the community. So I guess saying it vocally like this, it's refreshing, let's say. Yeah.
Yeah, moral of the story, it's refreshing. Gotta say, it's fantastic. No, I'll stop. But yeah, this really was refreshing. This is cool. So we were very glad to have you on board for this episode. So thank you for your time.
100%.
And we're gonna waste just a little bit more of it with a game. So, because we were talking a lot about, marketing, advertising ourselves, promoting that stuff, and how we represent our image to the community, that's kind of been a big part of this, what we hope to do and what other people see us as. This is going to be a bit of an experiment. We're going to try something here. Might be a little risky, but we're going to give it a shot. So we're going to try and help market each other in the form of a fake radio ad type deal. We're going to do like the epic movie trailer voice to try and describe each other and what we've made. I left as an example, he's a genius billionaire playboy philanthropist who overcame his parental murder trauma with cosplaying as a feral animal. Rich white man toys that defy the laws of physics, a loyal prisoner with a job he inherited as a voice of reason to ignore, and countless counts of aggravated assault.
Doctor Strange.
That is a promo for Batman.
Oh,
Right.
So we're going to try and do that with each other.
Oh shit.
So this is going to be tricky.
Michael, you're going first.
Yeah, I guess I am. Okay, so and obviously it's going to be pretty easy to guess who I'm describing. I'm going to save who it is for the very end, but I'm not going to, it's pretty obvious. He's basically the god of the stop motion animation community, diving into all different types of genres. He likes to shake it up, have a little fun, be a little goofy. But the algorithm loves him, and he's a badass. Introducing the Legendary stop motion animator Prime.
That was pretty rad.
Damn. All right.
And then he's the guy that takes 5 years to animate one project.
Good.
And does trailers, posters for projects that will never see the light of day.
That's right.
But he's a really good friend, a decent-ish voice actor. No, just kidding, you're great, buddy. And he looks like a chocolate chip cookie. Project422 Films.
I enjoyed that, actually. All right,
I love
so
you, buddy.
I suppose that's how it's going to go down. So do we do that with the
Yeah, we're gonna
exactly
do that
like that? Or?
Yeah, we're gonna do that to each other. So whoever wants to do it next, and yeah, you can be a little playful, roasty, but keep it fun, keep it clean.
You hear that? That is a violin. Yes, that's the violin that plays in The Joker. You see in that film? Yes. Everybody keeps talking about that film. Joker this, Joker that. Yeah, the composer won an Oscar, right? And so what's it about? It's about depression. Well, you want to see who is in depression? Captain America. He's in depression. This guy, he's like on his couch and shit. And then he fights and he has depression. Who would do that? Well, that's a good question. I'll show you who's doing that. Hey, whoa, Shrek. You've seen that. You've heard that phrase before, right?
Whoa. You're stuck with me now, Shrek.
It's in Civil War Part 2, when Ant-Man goes on Hulk on the Legendary video. Oh, yeah. Wait, you're telling me, what do you mean? He makes stop motions? And he voices? Oh, yeah. Stealthabotte. Here we go.
Hell yeah.
Yes!
That was great.
That was great. Oh, you're not going anywhere, Shrek. Oh man, you just gave me Civil War flashbacks. Oh, I love that, dude.
Beautiful.
That was great. I thought you were gonna talk about Daniel because you were hitting Joker.
That was great.
That was great.
I have no idea. I'm just on my crackhead moment.
We love to see it.
That's what we're all about here. The crackhead moment.
All right, we got to double back. Leo, what do you got for Daniel, your fellow Canadian?
You know Chips Ahoy. I mean, Chips Ahoy. Chips Ahoy.
Chips Ahoy.
Chips Ahoy. Chips Ahoy melt your heart. So once you open them, what do you find? It's a chocolate chip cookie, right? Chocolate chip cookie. Who looks like chocolate? Okay, that's a good question. I don't know. We have to find some sort of some sort of project that has to do with chocolate chip cookie. Maybe Project422. Probably the kind of chocolate chip cookie that gets away with stop motion about Batman. Without Batman. Chocolate chip cookie, 422.
Amazing. Yeah.
Beautiful.
That was really. This is something else.
Wow.
Daniel, you want to try out?
Sure.
Yeah, Daniel, you take your turn.
Okay. Hey everybody, my name is Korg. I'm kind of not the leader in here. First and foremost, I figured we'd talk about someone who is not actually named Leo, but is 100% a legend. His name is TheLeoLegendary number 10. I believe there are 10 of them. He makes great videos, and I believe you will enjoy them if you click the link in the description or wherever else this podcast finds you. I think am I missing someone else? Oh yeah, that's correct. Stealthabotte. I didn't see you there because as
you're all stealthy.
As your name suggests, you're pretty stealthy, and and you're not a robot. You are a human being, as opposed to me. I'm made of rocks. But yeah, apparently you are working currently on a video that pertains to a man who cannot see, your favorite character, and hopefully it'll be enjoyed by a multitude of others. Stealthbotte.
Wow, cute.
It is.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. That was great. Oh, that was iconic.
I absolutely butchered the voice near the end there because I was like in the middle of trying to think of what to say.
That was solid. That was rock solid, if you will.
I was raised by solids.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was
man.
a fantastic way to close us out.
Oh my god.
Leo, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
That was a work of art.
That was bronze.
That was bronze.
That was
That was
bronze. We're not allowed to award anything higher than bronze. Bronze is the best we could do. But yeah,
that was text pamphlet.
that was cinema, as the great Marty Scorsese would say. And I don't think there's anything better that we could say to cut the check.